Good afternoon, and thank you, Anita ji, for inviting me to present the work that we are doing currently. It's uh, it's always a great opportunity to learn from the best practices around the globe and within the country in various other sectors, because that always throws up some ideas about how we could look at it implementation in our sector at automotive. Very quickly, I know that we are very close to lunch as well. Uh, Last financial year, we have done about 100,000 contracts under optional trades. And within our sector, component manufacturers have generated the maximum contracts. We've had tremendous support from our third party aggregator partners, which has grown by almost like 166% overall in terms of their share within the contracts that we've generated. And very interesting thought, interesting input that we've also seen is that non-automotive companies are also leveraging certain engineering job roles that we have at the automotive sector as well. Across segment, if we look at, and this is where I think I would want to pause and highlight about the presence of MSMEs. Uh, Within the component manufacturer, which is our largest segment within the automotive sector, we have a mix, very good mix of large enterprises, which are multinationals. But we also have tier two, tier three, tier four vendors or suppliers in the automotive industry, many of whom are actually medium and small enterprises. Not so much micro, but medium and small enterprises. The other piece where we have a play on the SMEs or small medium enterprises is on the dealers segment, the auto dealers segment, which is one of our challenge areas as well, because we currently do not have much of apprenticeship engaged in that segment. As you can see, it's hovering around 500, 600 annual numbers, which really doesn't reflect the potential that it has in its segment. And this is where I'm going to come in terms of how there could be an alternate model to engage. And we've all heard, and one key input that we have heard is that SMEs stay away from this because they don't really have bandwidth. Even if you increase financial incentive and everything else, the real challenge on the ground is that who will take care of the apprentice when they are hired and engaged in this SME organizations. Uh, just a quick one in terms of geographical distribution and gender distribution. Uh, Challenge remains with women workers in the segment. We heard that overall it's about 20 odd percent in apprenticeship in India. Automotive sector, we currently have about 13 odd percent, and this is increasing over the years now because of very specific interventions that we are seeking along with our member companies. In terms of geography, as you can see, the states, the biggest are, of course, the clusters where automotive is there, which is Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Haryana. The top three actually contributes to over 70% of our contracts generated. However, we do work across 27 states and union territories within the country. In terms of the domain distribution, traditionally in automotive industry, the apprentices have always been engaged in the manufacturing segment, and that is where the designated trades have always worked on, and which is where we have the 90%. However, over the last few years that we have been trying to promote optional trades within the industry, we've also made some inroads into the other domain, which is service, driving, sales, and even in R&D, research and development. Though a lot of R&D trade also comes under NAT, which is under Ministry of Education. In terms of job role, obviously, we get more on the manufacturing side, which is assembly, machining, etc. There are three areas that we are working on. One is dealerships. Dealerships, one of the ways that we are looking at, and I just have a quick model that I want to talk to you about. Maybe let me show that as well for MSMEs. We have at the top of the value chain, we have the original equipment manufacturers or the vehicle manufacturers who have a lot of resources at their disposal. And the suppliers and the dealers are connected to at the downstream and at the upstream of movement of vehicles and making of vehicles. In dealer intervention, we are currently working with a few OEMs where the OEMs actually are taking initiative in terms of ensuring that the apprenticeships are kind of curated within their ecosystem. And we and then they kind of, I can't say which word, but in absence of any appropriate word, I can say kind of lease them to the dealer to be able to use them as a resource. Okay, so that the system itself meets its requirement of skilled manpower in the dealerships. Suppliers, we still have a better position, but the same model can also be replicated with the suppliers, especially when we are looking at interventions of tier 1 suppliers for their suppliers, which is at tier 2 or a tier 3 level, and which is an MSME. The second is, of course, the women engagement, but this again is largely outside of the SME today, because we are currently trying to focus and look at larger engagements on the larger corporations. And also we are very focused on engaging our tribal population and LWE, which is left-wing extremist impacted districts, where we are looking at how do we position them. But now why this is important is because automotive works in clusters. Now, if everything happens only in the manufacturing sector, people from other geographies will have to migrate. And it's not easy for these segments of people to migrate. And therefore, their biggest opportunity to get engaged in meaningful workforce engagement will be in the dealership segment, which is present in each and every district of this country. And therefore, when we focus on this, it is imperative for us to ensure that we have the SME segment covered through the dealership, becoming more proactive in terms of engaging apprentices with the support of the OEMs as a support mechanism, as a feeder mechanism in terms of getting into apprenticeship programs. So this is all that I needed to share, and I'll stop here. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to take that. Thank you.